Hello and welcome to the GreenBiz Studio. I'm John Smieja, Vice President of Circularity here at GreenBiz, and I'm excited to welcome Emily Gittins to the studio. Emily is the co-founder and CEO of Archive, a technology company that enables brands to launch and scale profitable resale businesses. Emily, great to see you and welcome to the GreenBiz Studio.
Thanks so much, John. Thanks for having me on the show.
All right, well, let's start at a high level. For our viewers who don't know a lot about Archive, can you give us the elevator pitch for the company and tell us a bit about how you got started?
Absolutely. So Archive is a technology platform. As you said, we enable brands to launch and scale profitable resale businesses. What that means is that customers can go onto a brand's website and actually buy secondhand products directly through the brand. And we are acting completely behind the scenes to give brands the tools they need to run that as a business. We launched in 2021 and we now work with about 50 brand partners across actually quite a range of categories. So from footwear brands like New Balance or Doc Martens, outdoor brands like the North Face, luxury brands like Oscar de la Renta, and kids brands like Hannah Anderson too. The story behind it for me is I began thinking about this space of brand-owned resale in business school when I was getting my MBA and Masters in Environmental Science at Stanford. And I was blown away when I learned that 80% of fashion's impact comes from the production of new items. And through my research, I had this realization that whilst it's really amazing all of the work that's going in to help brands make clothes and items more sustainably, we're never going to get to where we need to if the rate of production keeps growing at the exponential rate that it's growing today. So to me, that led to resale as really a primary way to keep things in use and drive meaningful impact on this industry overall. I then met my co-founder, Ryan Rowe. He's incredibly talented, and we started thinking about what this could mean for end customers, for people like me and you. And it became clear to us that there was an enormous opportunity, really, to fundamentally transform the way that people bought and sold items if brands got involved. And that, in fact, brands also had a lot to gain from owning that business themselves as well. So we think about brand-owned resale as really this win-win-win proposition. It's a win for the environment, it's a win for consumers, but it's also a win for brands because it's good for business and it drives revenue as well as customer acquisition and loyalty too. So today it's now 2024 and we're really focused on building the most user-friendly software in this space and maximizing profitability for our brand partners.
Excellent. And in those 3 years, could you tell us a little bit more about the trends you're seeing in retail? Like specifically, are customers changing behavior? Why are so many brands jumping into it now? You said you already have 50 plus brands. Like curious what you're hearing from them.
Yeah, it's been a really exciting and pretty wild few years for the space. When I first started talking to brands in 2020 about launching their own resale channel, the conversation was really focused on why would I do this? You know, how will it work? What are the benefits? And it's really shifted from why to just when is kind of the conversations we're having today. I think the history of this is super interesting. In 2017, a few brands, REI, Eileen Fisher, Patagonia, sort of dove off a cliff for the industry and offered resale through their brand for the first time. And today there's over 250 brands that now have their own secondhand business. And there's just a lot more data out there in the world on what this can drive in incremental revenue. And it's become really clear of kind of where this is going and the fact that in a few years' time, every brand will have a branded resale channel. I think the why behind that is this fundamental change in consumer behavior, which is really exciting to see as an environmentalist. A recent report just showed that nearly half of consumers' budget for apparel in the last 12 months was spent on secondhand items, half of their budget. So that's wild. And it's not just for apparel. Actually, 77% of e-commerce is happening in categories outside of apparel. So a lot of the reason why you're seeing brands jump into this space with a lot of urgency is they're really missing out on 50% of wallet share if they don't.
Yeah, for sure. So it is growing. We know it's growing, re-commerce in general and in the fashion space. What is your vision for what that looks like 3, 5, 10 years down the line? Like, what does the future look like for this space?
Yeah. Um, It's an exciting one to me. As I mentioned, in a few years' time, we believe every brand will launch their own resale business. And that includes brands across all consumer goods. So not just apparel and footwear, but also, furniture, toys, you name it. In the next, let's say, 5 years, resale will actually grow to be a significant revenue stream for a lot of brands. So, upwards of 10% of their total revenue, and probably a lot higher for brands that have that strongest natural fit with resale. We also see resale being really fully integrated into a brand's overall omni-channel experience. So thinking about retail, e-commerce, and then re-commerce as the next part of that. And brands will be able to offer this really seamless experience to buy and sell secondhand goods, both in store and online and across kind of new and used together. So, our vision, if we set out with what we hope to do, is that buying secondhand will become, just as easy as buying new. And brands will have this way to actually decouple their growth from the production of new items and grow without producing more.
Excellent. I did have one more question for you, but I feel like you answered it so well in that last one. So as this space grows and evolves, how do brands, or like, why does it need to be part of their core strategy? It sounds like you already talked a lot about it, but anything you want?
Yeah. I mean, fundamentally, it's the fact that we produced 150 billion fashion items last year. And that's just a fraction of total items produced outside of fashion as well. So even if we produce those more sustainably, I don't see a world where a brand can truly be sustainable if they just keep creating more and more items. So we need to get to a place where brands can generate revenue in a way that is, like I said, decoupled from producing more stuff. And that's why circular business models are such a big part of that story.
Awesome. Amazing. Thank you, Emily. Everyone, you just heard from Emily Gittins, co-founder and CEO at Archive here in the GreenBiz Studio. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks so much, John.